Senator Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it very much. General Fenton and Mr. Mayor, I know this has been touched on, but it's an issue that I think is really important. How is the shift going from your rightful and exceptional focus on CT operations, primarily in the CENTCOM AOR, to the Indo-PACOM region as our pacing threat? And what is the kind of orientation of the strategy in that region? And what I mean by that is the CT SOCOM focus post 9/11 was very kinetic, which our guys did an incredible job at. But the Indo-PACOM strategy and focus is not kinetic, at least not now. We all hope it's never going to be kinetic. So it's a very different mission set. I don't know if that impacts morale. It's not as, well, I'd like both of you to talk about that, because I've been concerned that it's been hard. You've done such a good job in that AOR, and that AOR is still important. And the issue of making sure that violent extremist organizations do not threaten our nation, particularly with weapons of mass destruction, is still critical. But the pacing threat is China. Every day we see something. You saw the foreign minister of China yesterday publicly saying, hey, we're on a collision course towards war. We don't want that, but we better well be ready for it. And your operators are the best in the world. There's no Chinese forces that can hold a candle to the U.S. Special Operations enterprise, not even close. So it's a giant strategic advantage we have over them. I want them to fear the hell out of it. So what are we doing, and how's that shift going?
So, Senator, thanks for the question. Maybe I'll start, and then General Fenn can address some of the issues that are core to his force here. So, I would say the shift is very much underway, but I think it's a question of how do we maintain the counterterrorism capabilities, because if you look at the map, sir, of course, many of the areas that were problems continue to be problems. So we're having to manage that risk. At the same time, we are doing, as you correctly said, sir, a different mission in the Indo-Pacific. And I think the idea that we're not very kinetic or not kinetic at all in the Indo-Pacific is not necessarily something that means that the same kind of soft skills are not relevant. So as we think of things like placement and access and really relying on partners sometimes for that placement and access, but also the ability to work unilaterally, go to places, that last tactical mile that at times only U.S. Special Operations can do, that's still relevant in the Indo-Pacific, even if the finish is not a kinetic or lethal finish. Good. And I think, second, Senator, I would highlight the by, with, and through approach, really working through partners, that has really been the hallmark of the counterterrorism efforts, especially the last decade or so, is very, very relevant, again, in the Indo-Pacific, because we want our partners to be in the lead, but we've demonstrated in places like Ukraine, we can do that from a distance. So yeah, it doesn't have to be the hand on the shoulder that we've been familiar with in the past. So I think these fundamental tools and approaches we've used are still very relevant in the Indo-Pacific, sir.
General Fenton, how's the reorientation of the Indo-PACOM theater going?
Yes, Senator, if I might, I'm going to start by agreeing with you that your special operations formation is the best, the very best in the history of
Chinese mankind. Don't have anything remotely close to it. And they know that. We know that.
And I agree with that. And the same thing with Russia and any other adversary out there.
That's right.
And the other part is that we exist in the included with the entirety of the U.S. military, and the cybercom team is exactly the best, and we have all that. So I think, and I would want everybody that wishes this nation harm. And if there's an adversary out there, China.
But I just want the
fear.
Indo-PACOM theater to know that we're out there too, right?
sir.
I want the Chinese to wake up thinking they got Navy SEALs all over them every day.
Yes, sir. And your special operations team is out there in a very sustainable, durable way, and in a concert with Admiral Aquilino's requirements. And I would tell you that we can handle these challenges. And I'll start by saying special operations really never left strategic competition and integrated deterrence. And you and I talked about this, Senator, I think last year, where I was the special ops commander responsible in the Pacific for the special operations forces that both did counterterrorism with one partner that I can talk more in a closed session about, but competed with the PRC all day long by building partnerships, relationships, and capability. That continues. At the same time, we will not take our eye off the persistent threat of global terrorism, and so we will still handle the CT mission. And there will be a number of our forces that have the CT mission each and every day, hunting anybody that wishes harm to this nation, but can slide over to present some level of dilemma to an adversary in an integrated deterrence arena. And I would just add, much of our counterterrorism experience is desired by these partners and nations as we go forward to train and becomes a key part of the partnership. So, Senator, I would just end with your SOCOM team is absolutely ready to handle that challenge. I think there's a large portion of our force that is excited about this. They want to do what the nation needs. And right now the nation needs us to get very involved, and we are, and deter PRC, and certainly to address aggression by the Russians. And they want to be knee-deep in it. You know your special operations team well. And at the same time, handle the counterterrorism mission and any crisis response mission where U.S. citizen or diplomat need to be safeguarded or rescued.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Sullivan.
And I just want to say to General Nakasone, no question, I just think you're publicly, because a lot of what you do is not public, I think you and your team are doing an exceptional job, General. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.